guys, welcome to another episode of the Hot Girl Philosophies, and welcome back to my YouTube channel if you're listening on YouTube. Today we're doing another half podcast, half YouTube video sort of vibe. You guys know I have a podcast on Spotify called the Hot Girl Philosophies, but I know you guys really enjoy looking at me when I speak, so we like this little duo thing. But today's episode is going to be about spirituality, all things about it, how I got started, what triggered my spiritual awakening, my ego death, things I've learned, things I do every single day to continue my spiritual mindfulness practices. Make sure to follow my Instagram at Sandy Diana Bang so that you guys can contribute to when I have these questionnaires on my stories. Make sure to subscribe too so you guys never miss a video. Before we get started, I want you guys to kind of understand how I view spirituality. I view spirituality as self-evolution. It's about getting so deep inside yourself, the deepest parts of what makes you you, right? So the goods, the bads, your good habits, your bad habits, your good traits, your bad traits, your happy moments, your bad moments, your past traumas, past pains. It's about getting so deep within yourself so that you can actually learn to heal those areas and become a better and brighter version of you. What makes you feel more in alignment to who you are as a spiritual soul and spiritual being? I think it's just about mastering yourself and mastering your emotions so that you can come to a deeper understanding of who you are. I believe that we're made up of both light and dark energies, like in our body, and so spirituality to me is being able to merge the two so that you can just love yourself for the good and the bad, because Lord knows we live in a society where a lot of us are just so afraid to actually bring light to our shadows because of how raw and vulnerable it can get, and it's really scary. Like if you have abandonment wounds, sometimes it's hard to target those things because it's not comfortable talking about the things that actually have been bringing you pain for so many years of your life. Does that make sense? It's like if you've dealt with feelings of unworthiness, for example, if you're like 27 years old and you're finally trying to tackle that wound, it's hard because that's the sort of mindset, this unworthiness energy, you've had that for 27 years. But there's power in going deep to those dark areas and trying to heal it. There's power in that, guys, because we're literally light and dark energy, and the more of one energy is going to impact you and what you attract and the sort of mindset you have. Like if you're somebody that's extremely negative all the time, that is going to just make your aura so tainted, so dark, so sad that you're only going to attract low vibrational things, a low vibrational life. That is why working with your energy is so important to me. Like for me, I want to be so in abundant and so positive so that I can go ahead and manifest the most beautiful and well-deserved life for me. So that is what spirituality is to me, and that's why spirituality is so important to me. There is just something so beautiful to me about getting so clear on who you are and understanding yourself so much that you actually can hear your soul. Like you can literally hear your intuition speak through you. I feel like so many people struggle with listening to their intuition or learning to trust it. Spirituality, guys, like the more you dig into it, the more you're gonna hear your soul. And it's a very unconventional way of living because we live in a society where people are told to live by a specific sort of standard and system, but I don't like doing that. I like to just live in my own flow because I believe we all have our own flow. Overall, spirituality to me is just about getting so freaking in alignment with your own freaking soul and your own destiny and your own life. You don't have to live for anyone else but yourself. I actually do have a spiritual mentor, or you can say life coach, spiritual coach. Her name is Kylie Yang, and guys, she has helped me so much on this journey. I've been working with her since last summer, and she has helped me so much in getting clear on who I am and moving through this world in the most aligned way. She helps me so much with listening to my intuition and getting so clear on what the universe is trying to tell me. Like she's so good at it, guys. I have no idea how, but like she's amazing, and I aspire to be just like her one day, because you guys know I want to be a mentor one day too. So if you guys want to work with her, I'm gonna have her link down below. She's amazing. I actually see her in person once a week, literally once a week. That's how committed I am to becoming the best and most high vibrational version of me. But of course, you guys don't have to physically be in my area to work with her. If you guys want to, you guys can always schedule Zoom calls. I see her so often, but if you want to just see her for a reading, by all means, you guys know she is capable of it all. Do you find your life is hard right now and you don't know what to do? You know who to call. Kylie Yang. But before I had Kylie as my mentor, I actually started my entire journey by myself, like a lot of us do. Let me tell you guys my spiritual journey now. Like, how did I even get here? Growing up, my family practiced shamanism until I was like 12 when my mom got remarried into a Christian household. But honestly, I wasn't really religious myself though for a long time, and I still am not extremely religious or anything. I would just say spiritual. I don't really like prescribe to one religion. I am very open. I don't close myself off to anything. I do believe in a higher power. Like, I know there was some higher consciousness being that has created all of us, and I feel like this is what we call the creator, source energy, the universe. I love saying the universe, like the universe, because it's so like grand, right? Or God, whoever created all of us. Like, I know there's a creator, a beginning. That's kind of how I kind of see things. When I think about it, I think my first ever spiritual awakening actually happened when I was in high school. Long story short, I was not very nice to this one girl, and it absolutely broke me to learn how much it hurt that girl to experience my own pain that I put onto her. That just like triggered something in me. Like, this is not the sort of person I want to be, because I realized like I was saying mean things, but for what reason? Like, it made me kind of conscious in that moment, and I was like, wait, why am I being mean? I truly just didn't feel like that's who I am, but it almost felt like being mean was something I was doing out of like obligation. Everyone else in high school, like, everybody's kind of mean. Like, I feel like people are just not very conscious, and so they just say things. But in reality, like, if a child is saying things that are negative, it's not really because of them, it's because it's learned behavior. And so that was like one of my moments where I was like, well, hold on, why am I acting this way? But don't worry guys, that was a long time ago, and I did apologize to her. But that kickstarted me wanting to make sure that I'm kind to everyone, because I understood that pain is not something, no matter what happens, that you should be transferring to others. I remember after going through that, I literally was asking myself like, whoa, that just like changed me. Is this normal? Like, do most people do this? Like, do most people think this deeply about their actions? My second spiritual awakening happened when I moved out on my own with Shar, and then experienced the first time actually getting vulnerable about my birth dad's passing, which was a very, very, very deep wound. If anything, it was the biggest wound I had at the time. Honestly, the biggest wound I'll probably ever have in my lifetime, which is also why I'm kind of like proud of myself for getting over that, because I really don't think there's anything harder than the first wound you've ever tackled being healed. Like, that was a hard journey for me. But yeah, I came to terms with that abandonment wound, that feeling of neglect wound, I guess, or the feeling of loss. And also, I think I was also grieving, and so that was another spiritual awakening, which that trickled down through a series of holding in emotions. I feel like spiritual awakenings, they kind of get triggered when you have internal emotions that are not being brought to the light. And so I was getting really anxious. I had a lot of depression, and I was overthinking a lot. A lot of suppressed emotions were finally ready to come out, and so I was getting so many dreams and so many signs from the universe. I remember I had this dream of like a Chucky doll, and ever since then I've just learned, if I see Chucky in my dreams, I'm about to have a spiritual awakening. Like, it's just something that the universe does to me now as a sign, which is so annoying because Chucky's scary, okay guys? But I guess the universe just knows that's how I listen. Then I had another spiritual awakening when I turned 22. I was in a relationship that just wasn't fulfilling me anymore. It was at one point, but I think that I had grown and I was just ready to up level who I was as an individual. I was also living in ego at the time, so living for the validation of everyone around me. I wanted to make everyone around me proud. I wanted to make sure that I was following the structure of society and doing things that society says is good, like living alone, making a certain amount of money, having a good career. The way I was presenting myself even on social media, I just wasn't really happy, but I thought I was, and I was in denial for a really long time. But at some point I made the decision to change my life around. I was also in a management that no longer felt fulfilling for me, and so I ended up leaving all of that. Like, I quit vaping, I left my apartment, moved back in with my parents because I needed a strong foundation. Like, I felt so weak. I told myself, like, it's time to go back home, and it's time to figure out a good foundation for myself as a being, like as a person, and also just like feeling safe at home in order for me to actually expand from this point on. Leaving my past relationship, currently I'm going through another breakup, so kind of crazy, but I'll talk about that more later. I think maybe I basically left my old life behind, and then I came and lived with my parents, and from then on I actually hopped into a different relationship not so long after, and that actually kick-started my real deep spiritual awakening because I ended up repeating a cycle because I was too afraid to actually do the inner work. I quit vaping, I moved back here, I got out of my management, but what I didn't do was actually go inward and do the healing inward. And so I ended up repeating a cycle where I continued to just not feel whole, and I was so confused. And then that's when the breakthrough really happened, where I had to leave the relationship I was in to finally focus on me, and that completely changed my life. It led me to have an ego death because, oh gosh, like if you guys are in spirituality, you guys know ego deaths are basically, how do I describe it? Okay, we have our ego self and we have our higher self. Your higher self is the absolute most abundant, loving, and bright version of you. When you think of the most like successful version of you, that's your higher self. It's a feeling, it's an energy, and it's like this loving self-love energy that is so beautiful. Your ego self is that version of you that you present to the world so that people are proud of you, so that you can be digestible for people. It's your identity that you show outward. So my ego would be Sandy Diana Bang. I'm a YouTuber, content creator, but deep down inside I also have my higher self, which my higher self is just loving and can be anything in the whole world. If I wanted to go out and be a figure skater, I could. But your ego is who you present yourself to the world. And sometimes it's hard to live in your ego because you start to wonder if certain decisions would be good for you and the identity you've put out for the world. You know, I'm a Hmong daughter, and so when I live in my ego as a Hmong daughter, I have to do certain things a Hmong daughter does because that's my label, that's my identity. Does that make sense? So like when we have family gatherings, as the Hmong daughter, I go and I do the dishes, I help cook in the kitchen, I clean the house. But sometimes your ego can kind of hinder your growth as well because you get so stuck on the label that you have that it scares you to even expand yourself. It makes you wonder if expanding is the right or wrong decision, but it feels more wrong. My ego self is Sandy Diana Bang. At age 18, I had to make the decision, do I want to go to college or do I want to chase my dream? Because my higher self feels like college is not for me. But my ego self was like, no, but in society, everyone goes to college, so you should go to college. But in my heart, I was like, but I don't want to. So then your ego self protects you so that society can actually look at you as acceptable. Does that make sense? It's hard to describe, but that's kind of what happened. So I had an ego death, and as a content creator, I felt like there were certain standards I upheld myself to, but when I had my ego death, I actually completely let go of every fucking standard to ever exist that I put on myself, whether that be how to create a video, when to create a video, what sort of video I create. I let go, but for some reason, in letting go of my old life that I created for myself and being like, I can be anyone I fucking can be. I'm not gonna do social media anymore because I felt like it wasn't really for me anymore. I felt stagnant. But tell me why. In letting go of every single thing that I held so tightly to, you know, my job, money, relationship, life, it all. I wanted to die. But you know what? I was like, you know what? Let's give up the dying energy. Let's just see what happens if I just let the fuck go and allow. And in that allowing energy, I found my love for content creating again. I found my love for living again. Like, mind you guys, I was ready to jump off a bridge. Mentally in my head, I was like, I really don't think I'm gonna do this anymore. Tell me why in letting go of every expectation I held for myself, I really fell in love with my life. I feel like that's kind of what ego deaths will do for you. It always offers you an extremely deep sense of, whoa, I just learned something very deep about myself. Like, whoa. It like allows you to kind of let go and recreate yourself, because the reality is you can do and be anything that you freaking want to do and be. It's just the only thing holding you back are these old beliefs and old thinking patterns and these old expectations you have for yourself. If you want to drop everything and go be a stripper, but right now you're a lawyer, girl, you can go be a stripper. What's holding you back? Go do that thing. Oh, but my parents, my family, oh, society's gonna look at me. Who cares? These are illusions. You literally made it up in your head. So yeah, that's an ego death. Overall though, what always kickstarts me to have these spiritual awakenings are just realizing that old thinking patterns and old mindsets aren't serving me anymore. Like, you get to a point where you get sick of being so negative. You get sick of the life you're living. You get sick of how you're thinking, that you're like, okay, something needs to change. And that's basically what happens to me every single time. The ego death I was talking to you guys about out. What really triggered it was the fact that I was in a relationship that I realized I didn't feel like 100% fulfilled in. And I was like, why is this happening to me again? And I got so sick of being in a relationship like that. No negative energy towards that. It's more so like internal, like because I have so much respect for all of my past partners, so much gratitude as well. But sometimes you get so sick of the way you think that it actually forces you to expand, because you're like, I don't want to be like this anymore. Long story short though, guys, the whole reason why I was unfulfilled was because I did not love myself. You cannot love the world if you do not love you. How do you expect to pour into someone when you have never poured into yourself? It's like pouring from an empty cup. There's nothing coming out. How has spirituality helped me? I genuinely think that spirituality has helped me in so many ways, like holy fucking shit. Number one, physically, spirituality has made me healthier. My body's hotter, my face is cuter, my aura is nicer, my aura is more me. I've been told I've been classy recently, like, huh? Spirituality has helped me refine my love for literally life, for my career. It's crazy. I have gratitude for just being here now. I used to be the sort of person that felt a lot of lack, like, oh, I don't have this, and this, but now I don't feel like that. Like, I feel so whole right now. I feel so loved. Everything that I used to worry about doesn't worry me anymore. I have content. I just feel peaceful, so in content. I love my life. I love me. And if I died today, I would still be happy. Healing has literally made me the master of my own emotions. I used to be so afraid of things like shame, guilt, and pain, but now I actually embrace all of that, and it's kind of hard to do that, but it's possible, okay? The only way to heal is to feel, and that's something I've learned. It was really hard for me because my ego was on X Games mode, okay, guys? I didn't want to look weak. You know, society wants you to be strong. Stay strong. I couldn't fucking do that anymore. That's when my ego kind of broke down. I was like, you know what? I'm done being strong, guys. I'm going through it. But hey, in going through it, I felt my way through it and I went through it. Does it make sense? Becoming more spiritual has made me love myself more, and in loving myself more, I feel like I'm attracting so much more high vibrational things. I mean, give it time. I swear right now, like, my world is changing, my world is shifting, my 3D world is going to change. I just feel like 2025 is my year, guys. Being spiritual has also helped me understand old patterns and behaviors, and I have the capability to rewire my brain now and rewire these subconscious beliefs to actually behave differently. Like, I have so much power that my brain and my mind has so much strength. Like, I can actually change myself. I can alchemize. Oh my gosh, being a higher spiritual being has made me so much better at alchemizing myself. Somebody asked, how do I incorporate spirituality into my daily routine? I incorporate spirituality in almost everything I do now because I love living from my intuition. So when I go grocery shopping, I ask my intuition to choose what I want to eat. It's like intuitive eating, which has been extremely helpful in my energy levels, because intuitively I love eating healthier things, fruits, vegetables, and whole foods sort of things. I'm very mindful of where my food is coming from and stuff now, which is really odd because not all spiritual beings are like this, but for me personally, I am picky. Like, I've become extremely picky when it comes to eating and finding food now. You guys know what shadow work is? Shadow work is basically like working with the darker parts of you and bringing light to them so that you can become a lighter being, you know what I mean? Like, it's working with your traumas and learning how to love yourself still and not be so angry, you know? Give everything that you've experienced in the past more grace. That sort of shadow work. I basically do that at every moment of my life now, which is a little odd to say, but becoming spiritual has allowed me to process my emotions at any given moment. Like right now, being more self-aware of the things that are happening in my mind, the things that are passing through. I like to tell you guys this all the time, but your thoughts can't hurt you. They're literally just flowing sentences in your mind. Thoughts only can hurt you if you give it power. Remember that. So whenever you have thoughts that bring you pain or kind of just like are a little triggering, allow those painful memories or thoughts to flow. You don't have to act from them, right? You don't have to do anything about it. Just allow it to flow, because the only way to heal is to feel. The only way for it to pass is for it to pass, right? When you don't allow these things to flow and run their course, it actually never leaves your body. And so that's where anxiety and panic attacks stem from, at least in my experience. It's from like the buildup and suppression of emotions that want to come out. They don't want to stay with you too, girl, but they're there because you are too afraid to let them go. You're too afraid to let them feel heard. Just like how you have happy, loving emotions that we all love to feel. We all love to feel happy. We were given emotions like sadness and anger because they're also emotions that we're meant to feel too. Allowing yourself to feel all of that without actually acting from that shame or guilt and pain and hurt, that's power. That's how you heal. And that's what I do at every single moment. When I think something, I let it pass. And in doing that, I no longer have such a crazy buildup of negative emotions. I like to say that your body stores negative emotions, and if you don't let it out, you are going to feel it. Your body literally speaks to you through sensations and feelings. So if you feel panicky, you feel anxiety, it is a sign that maybe you should go inward and understand what is making me feel tense. What am I protecting myself from? Becoming spiritual has also allowed me to actually see the signs of the universe. Like, the universe speaks to you in its own divine way, and the only person who's actually going to understand those signs is you. Your spirit team, the universe, whoever you believe in. That helping energy will never talk to you in ways you don't understand. It's very unique to you. And so becoming extremely intuitive and closer to myself has allowed me to see the signs and hear my soul, what it's trying to say, and see the signs and what the universe is trying to tell me. So in doing that, it's also allowed me to actually see opportunity when an opportunity arises. I'm not saying I'm perfect though. I'm sure there are some I miss, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better at seeing opportunities as opportunities, because in the past I used to be so narrow-minded because I wasn't very open and conscious, and so opportunities would pass me, or if there was an opportunity, I would try it and I actually would just self-sabotage myself in that opportunity because I actually wasn't in the vibrational frequency to actually receive the blessing and opportunity, if that makes sense. That's why your vibration matters so much. High vibrational thinking is like gratitude and love and growth. But when you're in a low vibration, like shame and negativity and just feeling like a victim, when you get an opportunity, you're going to just sabotage it. You are gonna struggle to see it from a place of growth. I have had endless times of experiencing things like that. I also like to meditate. I like working with crystals. I think this is something a lot of you guys were wondering, if I work with crystals. I actually used to work with crystals so much. I have so many, but I would say my favorite crystals are always green ones. My absolute favorite crystal is probably peridot or moldavite, which is kind of crazy because if you guys are into spirituality, you guys will know moldavite is one of the strongest crystals you guys can actually get. It is the most vibrationally strong thing. So what happens when you have crystals is that crystals hold energy. They have their own certain vibrational frequency. When you are somebody that's vibrating here but the crystal's up here, so what happens when you're down here but the crystal's up here is that because you have that crystal, you're going to want to heighten your frequency to reach that crystal, and certain frequencies also hold certain traits, if that makes sense. And so when you have example like a green crystal, green correlates with heart chakra, right? Heart, love, forgiving, right? So when you have that crystal, you get on that frequency, and that's why you're able to attract things of that sort of thing. Does that make sense? So when I got moldavite, I actually got that when I had an ego death, and it was a crazy crystal to kind of adjust my frequency to, but they say moldavite is the sort of crystal that completely shifts your life around, point blank period. It is the most powerful thing. It will get the worst people out of your life. It will make you hold boundaries. Not saying it will make you, but its energy will have that effect on you. It's going to make you want to be on that frequency, if that makes sense. No crystal is going to make you do anything. It can't control you, you know what I mean? But its frequency will have an influence on you, if that makes sense. And so that actually made me have my ego death as well, because it kind of led me towards spirituality more, which led me to that breakthrough. And so if you want to change your life, perhaps get moldavite, but honestly, work with other crystals first, because that is the strongest crystal ever, and it's not for the weak. I would say only do that if you're experienced with multiple crystals, so that you can say, yeah, I think I'm ready for this, right? My life definitely changed after I got the moldavite. It was almost like I found myself again. I no longer had energies around me that were draining me, and now I have such a love for my career again. That's why my YouTube videos have been better, because I got that moldavite, guys, and it just made me just want to live for myself. And in living for myself, my frequency gets higher, which means everything that I do is from love, which is why my videos just feel different now. I have more love, guys, more self-love. So somebody asked, how does your spirituality help you maintain your composure and demeanor in tough and uneasy situations? Example, what do you say to yourself, and how do you help yourself in moments so that you can become spiritually strong? When I tell you guys, being in a relationship for basically most of my adulthood, it has tested me so much. Relationships do that to you. Relationships are reflections, and so that's why I think you learn the most through relationships, because you're constantly being triggered by them in a way, because they just mirror you. But I have worked on this a lot. Like, I used to be a very, very angry person just because I grew up in a household that didn't really talk about emotions. So I didn't really know how to process emotions. I had a lot of habits and unhealthy thinking patterns. I don't know. But I grew up in a family that suppressed emotions a lot, and so I didn't know that I was doing that until I would have like outlashes. And even in the outlashes, I didn't know it was because of energy suppressants. But as I've become more conscious, I've unlearned this behavior, and now because I process my emotions at every waking day of every single day, when I do get angry, I don't have a buildup anymore. So that's why, like, if you want a successful relationship, or you want to have successful conversations with people that, you know, may be very heated and deep, you have to love yourself. You have to know how to master yourself. If you don't know how to master yourself, times like this where you're heated, you're not going to know how to react, and you're not going to know how to control your reaction, because you have no self-control, right? You have no self-mastery. And so when I feel things, guys, I tell you guys, I let them pass. That's the number one thing that helps me. When I am in heated conversations, it has helped me tremendously to stay calm and to stay present with my mind. If I have certain thoughts, I choose not to act until I'm neutral again, because when you act based off of emotion, that could be coming from fear, it could be coming from a trauma response, from fight or flight, and none of those things are your higher self. So why act from it? Until you're feeling neutral, do not react. If you need time, tell whoever you're talking to, hey, I'm gonna need 20 minutes to process what's happening. Can you give me 20 minutes? That is all you need, okay, guys? It helps me so much to go sit somewhere else and just think about what I'm feeling, so that I can come back in a more productive way. What do I want from this conversation? It's very clear that from every conversation you have with anyone that may be heated, you want to feel seen. But guess what? So does the person you're talking to. So it's about becoming neutral so that you can validate not just yourself, but also the person in front of you, so that you both can actually have a productive conversation. That's kind of how I process heated conversations. It's about getting neutral before I make actions, okay? I like to ask myself, what would my higher self do? But typically the first thing I do is get alone or be alone. I try not to be selfish in moments like that, like me, because everybody wants to be heard. And so I try to think, okay, how can we grow from this? You know, how can I make you happy while also being validated in myself? And also telling myself to breathe. I'm always like this. Okay, relax. You are not your thoughts. What can I do to present the most loving version of myself right now? How can I choose love in this moment? How can I choose love? Because my higher self, I don't know about y'all, but my higher self is loving. She's caring. She's understanding. She's compassionate. And so I try to just remind myself, like, I want to act from my higher self. The moment you choose to give in to your fearful self, your pained self, your wounded self, you get further from your higher self, right? Because the way you do one thing is how you do everything. And so I try to act from love, because that's the sort of frequency that my higher self has. But if I act from hatred and pain and just hurt, oh, I'm hurt, I want you to feel my hurt, that puts me back down. It lowers my frequency, and my higher self would never do that. But sometimes it is important to recognize when the person in front of you is worth your energy or not. Girl, you gotta master yourself so that you can master understanding if the people in front of you are for you or not for you. You gotta know when and when not to use your energy. But the only way you know that is if you can read your own energy. Life is a reflection of you. So if you have a partner that is extremely insecure and has a lot of internal problems and they are just not very nice to you, that is a very great moment for you to ask yourself, how did I attract an individual like this? Because you only attract things that are on your vibrational frequency. So if you do not like the partner in front of you, it's a good time to ask yourself why you're attracting people like this. Sometimes people say they're very secure, but then you talk to them and you just know they have a lot of wounds still. When you master yourself, you can master being able to read people like this, because it can be deceptive sometimes, but when you master yourself, I feel like the opportunities of being deceived get lower. At this point, when your frequency is so high, you are going to attract people that are so high too. Somebody asked, how do you love yourself? So as you guys know, I am going through a breakup, and going through a breakup can be really hard because a lot of your insecurities will come out. Feelings of not being worthy, feelings of being afraid to be alone. Why are you afraid to be alone, you may ask? When you're alone, you finally have to deal with a lot of the thoughts that run through your head, and sometimes they're scary. The person who asked me this is going through through a breakup, and so am I. So I feel like this actually might be the most high vibrational breakup I've ever had, but it's also the most loving and high vibrational version of me I've ever experienced in a breakup, if that makes sense. Loving yourself is about understanding that you are whole and you do not need anything external to feel whole. And that's also why I did this breakup, because I wanted to tell myself and give myself that reassurance that you have chosen yourself. You've given yourself a chance to choose yourself before finding your person. Before I find my person, I want to know that I found myself first. I know that's kind of like odd to say, but like my relationship was so healthy. Like it was such a beautiful, loving relationship. Like I have nothing bad to say. He loved me perfectly. He was so sweet, and oh my god, we had the same love language. Our communication styles worked. But the thing is, like I knew deep down inside, I wanted to choose my partner after I could say I chose myself, and that's why I did it. It's a me thing before it's a we thing, okay guys? Like I want to choose me so that I can confidently say that I chose you with the right head on my shoulders. I'm not worried because I feel whole in myself, that I can trust that in being alone I never really lost anything. What did I lose? Like I feel like if anything I just learned and I grew, and the ego says loss, but in reality your higher self says growth. This is the next chapter in your life. Yeah, this is the ending of one thing, but it's the beginning of your next thing. Even pain and sadness now and the grief I feel now, it's only temporary, because in overcoming all of this I'm going to become stronger. I mean, I'm already strong right now, but imagine how strong I will be because I chose myself. And I feel like self-love has come from complete self-acceptance and understanding that everything you seek from other people are things you can seek in yourself. You know, you want your partner to speak to you a certain way and love you a certain way. You want your parents to acknowledge your successes. You want society to see you as a good citizen, a good person. This is all just love you're seeking from every single person, but you could give yourself that love. What if you just told yourself you're proud of you? What if you just told yourself you're enough? What if you just loved yourself the way you want to be loved? What if you just talked to yourself the way you want to be loved? What if you cooked yourself food the way you want people to cook you food? What if you spoiled yourself the way you want others to spoil you? Every single thing you want of others are things you can give to yourself. And self-acceptance is about loving yourself for the good and the bad that make up you. I used to be so ashamed of certain traits of me, but now I've come to just accept, you know what? Yeah, so what? I feel pain and sadness and grief and shame and all these negative emotions. Okay, I feel it. So what can I do from this point on to actually heal it? Yeah, I feel guilty about this one thing. How can I heal that guilt and actually look at it from a place of love? You needed to feel that shame. You needed to feel that pain. You needed to feel that sadness for you to learn more about yourself. I like to say fear and all these negative emotions, they can be used as an internal compass to actually point you in the direction towards healing. Oh, I feel shame because I didn't get a good grade on my test. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, how can we actually heal this part of us? You know what? Even though I may have gotten a grade that wasn't that great, I still love myself and I am still whole. My whole loving self is not dependent on a grade, right? I'm still whole. I'm still complete. I'm still lovable. I'm still worthy. These are the sort of things that I kind of think about when I feel like very sad and negative emotions. I'm like, you know what? So what if I'm sad? I'm still complete. I'm still lovable. If there's one thing you guys can understand from this spiritual podcast episode or video, I hope that it's the fact that spirituality is basically just about feeling. It's about mastering your emotions. Have you guys noticed that pattern? When you can really understand your emotions, you can really understand who you are and actually live through your life in divine self-acceptance. So I hope that you guys take that as an opportunity to journal today, to meditate today, to look within today, so that you can heal a part of you. If you're feeling any sort of resistance, fear, or just like uncomfortable emotions, I ask you to look at that emotion instead of avoiding it. Actually look at it, because the only way you can actually heal your shadows is to bring light to it, right? You gotta look at it. You gotta discover it. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. As you guys know, I am going through a breakup, but I'm literally the most optimistic I've ever felt about a breakup. Like, holy shit. I mean, I'm so divinely grateful for him, but I'm so grateful for myself as well. Like, I chose me. And like I tell you guys it's 333 right now. Oh my god. The universe is so loving that the universe says yes. The universe never says no to you. And the universe only gives you more of what you give the universe. And so if I chose myself out of self-love and I'm betting on me finally on this journey, doesn't that mean the universe is gonna give me more of that? More of that love, more of that self-love, more of that self-confidence, more of that self-reassurance. Did you guys know one of the highest vibrations you could ever feel is self-love? Yeah, guys, I'm elevating. I am fucking elevating my frequency and I am going to attract my dream life. I am attracting the most loving, abundant version of me right now, and honestly, I feel like choosing me from this relationship was the last thing I needed to do. Mostly because it was the scariest thing I needed to do. Of course, my journey is not over. Your ego hides in your shadows hide so deep within, and sometimes you make new shadows. But you know what? I choose to take on this challenge. Universe, bring it on. I'm brave, I'm courageous, and I have every capability of overcoming challenges because I see it all with the lens of love, growth. And with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Mwah.